Hi everyone, Allison Waldman here. I'm back with the Barbra Vidcast number 5. Still looking for a title. Still not getting any suggestions. But I have gotten a very good suggestion for today's episode. Thomas, who goes by the screen name Over My Head on the Barbra message board, was interested in Barbra fandom and what we did before the internet and how Barbra fans got together. So I thought I'd do a little history lesson, okay? You can consider me your Professor Rose Morgan for the day, okay? Minus the boobs and the and the adoring lecture hall filled with simpering fans. Although I hope you like me, anyway. But back in the day, before there was the internet, Streisand fans had a really difficult time getting to know each other and meeting each other. And for a very long time, I think a lot of us thought that we were sort of on our own. You know, we would like play Barbra for our friends and for our family and hope that we could get them excited about her, as excited as we were. But as far as getting information, you'd have to go to the newsstand. I started reading Variety and looking for Hollywood Reporter when I was 12 years old, trying to find news about Barbra movies and Barbra information. There was that was the era of movie magazines. Long before People, long before Us Weekly, long before, and the tabloids you couldn't trust, the National Enquirer. But you could trust Rona Barrett's Hollywood and Rona Barrett's Gossip. And they had great stories. On-the-set visit. There was an on-the-set visit for Star is Born and Funny Lady, and you got to see what was going on. And great color pictures. And around that time, some enterprising fans in Southern California, it was Bob Scott, Chris Nickens, and Karen Swenson. Now, I might be leaving somebody else out, but those were the three that started Barbra magazine, which eventually became called Barbra Quarterly, and James Spada, who had written The First Decade, got involved as a publisher. Now, you might remember, this is a sample of Barbra Quarterly. And this magazine not only was fascinating in that it had all this information about Barbra, but it was also beautifully made, great information, and told the truth. And also, it set the bar for all Barbra magazines and Barbra fan publications that came afterwards. Because these guys, they did it right. They cared about us, they cared about telling good stories, they cared about finding rare photographs, and they made their magazine special. A few years later, out of Colorado came a magazine called Barbra Now and Then. This is a sample of it. And this was by a guy named John Manzer. It was not nearly as well written. It did have a lot of rare photos. And for the while that it was around, it was interesting. But the main thing about John Manzer was he was also doing the Kismet bootleg albums. So the magazines were great. Most fans were really fascinated by the bootleg albums because he had basically, was putting on vinyl material that we only had on really bad cassette tapes. So then that came. A few years later, mid-'80s, right after Yentl, Lynn Pounder in England decided to do a publication called All About Barbra. She contacted Karen Swenson and asked Karen if she wanted to work on it. Karen was busy working on books. She was doing the second decade. So she passed, but she recommended me to Lynn. And I started to work on All About Barbra. And I've been working with Lynn on All About Barbra ever since. And here's just a recent example. Now, what's wonderful about All About Barbra is, aside from the fact that they've been in business all these years, 27, 28 years, Barbra actually reads All About Barbra. Barbra loves All About Barbra. Lynn sends it to Marty Ehrlichman's office, and it always ends up in Barbra's home. Barbra loves it. She looks at the pictures. She's amazed that we, as fans, have so much to write about her, and that after all these years, people still are interested and care. Barbra, please. Of course we care. And Lynn, through all, thick and thin, through everything, she's managed to keep on doing the magazine. So more power to Lynn, and a big plus to Steve Baxter, who lives in Aberdeen. Lynn lives in Peterlee, which is Durham, England. And between the two of them, Steve is a wonderful designer. Everything you love about the way the magazine looks is Steve. And he's a genius. And a sweet guy, too. Really, really nice guy. I went to see Lynn a couple of times. The second time was on my honeymoon. And we went to, my husband and I also, aside from visiting with Lynn, we also went to Scotland and visited with Steve. Fantastic person, wonderful friend. And like I said, great designer. Then, around the time of the concerts in 93, 94, a new magazine came out of Texas, and it was called Just Like Butter. This is an example of Just Like Butter. This magazine was created by Tom Gallion and Sue Craig, and Tom was the designer. Beautiful magazine, had a great sense of humor, did funny, wonderful riffs on Barbra, but always in a very loving, funny way, and really also branched out into other things, other kinds of products. They did calendars, they did magazines. I provided some writing for Just Like Butter too, and until the sort of the early 2000s, you could always Just Like Butter was really, really a fun publication. Now, here's the other big development that happened in Barbra fandom. In 1993, Barbra did the New Year's Eve concert, of course, at the MGM. And fans, all of us, a lot of us went thinking this would be the only chance we'd get to see Barbra sing live. But we didn't know each other. Well, we found out after the fact, via the internet, on a Yahoo message board and an AOL message board, that there was a tremendous fandom out there. And all of us had gone, a lot of us had gone to the MGM, a lot of us were going to the other concerts when Barbra finally announced that she was going to tour, and we all wanted to meet. We wanted to get together. And a very enterprising fan in Phoenix named Daniel Ryan, we'd been having these long conference calls, like a group of fans, 5, 6, 7 fans would get on a conference call, talk about what could we do? What could we do? Could we get together? Could we have a convention? Well, he went ahead and booked a weekend space at the San Rafael Holiday Inn, which is right outside of San Francisco. And because he did that, all of us pooled our resources together and created the first Barbra reunion. And the reason we called it a reunion and not a convention is because it was a reunion of fans who had gone to see Barbra in concert at the MGM or at any of the concerts. So we were all sort of having the opportunity to get to know each other and to meet again. Well, that started, and it was also a reunion of the fans that had met online. That convention was fabulous. It was wonderful. Sony Signature, which has done all the all the concessions, all the T-shirts and such, and the posters for the concert, were based in San Francisco. And Ann Zarandia, who I think most of you know from the I Love Barbra catalog, had contacted them, and they agreed to provide all the decor for the weekend. So we had giant posters of Barbra, we had those pillars, we had everything, and we could, and they also provided a lot of merchandise that we could auction off to help pay for doing the convention. And it was a terrific weekend. There was a What's Up Doc tour that went all through the city of San Francisco to all the spots where the movie had filmed. It was, generally speaking, a wonderful weekend. The second Barbra reunion, I helped plan. I wasn't able to go to it because it turned out that my first attack of cancer happened in 1996. And instead of being able to go to the convention, I had to have surgery. But as I was recovering and I was home, I received a call from the fans who had all gathered in New York for the Barbra reunion. And all of them, 150 people, whatever it was were on a conference call, a group call, all wishing me well, all hoping that I was getting better soon. So that was a really touching moment. And subsequently, we did 3 more Barbra reunions. We did New York. We did another one in Los Angeles. One we did the tour of Barbra's Malibu home, which was fabulous. I'll tell you more about that next time. We also had a screening of the brand new restored Funny Girl on the big screen in Hollywood. That was for the 4th reunion. 5th reunion was back in New York, and that was also terrific. But unfortunately, it became cost effective, and it was harder and harder to do the shows. So we only did 5 reunions, but they were wonderful. And today, where are we now? Well, now we are in the best of all possible worlds, because we have the Barbra message boards, we have the Barbra internet, we have Facebook, we have ways of contacting each other, sharing the news instantly. We have Barbra giving us news instantly. Friday she put out her political statement about Newt Gingrich instantly. Twitter, instant. It's a new day. It really, really is. And as far as buying Barbra memorabilia, well, eBay is the ultimate, garage sale, and anything you want. You go on eBay, you're going to find it. You're going to find Barbra photos. You're going to find magazines. All these magazines, they're all there. So it's a whole new world. It's a different world. And in some ways, it's a better world for Barbra fans. I still wish we had more chances to interact. I think I know that a lot of fans have taken advantage of whenever Barbra tours to have mini Barbra gatherings, and they're wonderful. And if she tours again, I'm sure we will. And I'll tell you what, when My Mother's Curse comes out, I think we should all plan on something. I think every city should have a Barbra My Mother's Curse party. And all of us should plan on getting our friends together, going to opening night, having a party, celebrating. Because this is Barbra's big return to the movies, guys. Bigger than Meet the Fockers, bigger than Little Fockers. It's going to be great. And I guess that's it for today. So I'm going to wrap it up. And I'm going to say that I hope you've enjoyed this vidcast. And I will be happy to come back next week and talk some more. Yap. And hopefully we'll keep it going and keep it interesting. And I promise I will get into my closet and dig out some of those rare Barbra singles, CDs, picture sleeves, whatever I've got. What I've got, I'll share. Okay? So until then, this is Allison Waldman, your Barbra fan connection. I don't want to say expert because that sounds so haughty. But your friend in Barbra. I'll see you next time, okay? Take care. Bye.